I'd love some.
The government.
Okay. I will.
We very much look forward to that. In the first half, as is customary, we have readers from the floor.
Because if I could read the whole lot.
And another thing, Lord, why do we have to shave?
Yes, I'm pushing my luck there. I'll do a shorter one, which relates to this locality, in fact. I lived in Kentish Town.
Whenever I see a pasta picture collaged by a primary child.
So now it's set in stone, I can't change it anymore. And I thought for the first time ever I'd read it tonight, but from a computer, because the book doesn't exist yet. Next February it comes out. It's about the brain, the human mind, and how it gets altered on prescription drugs. That's what it's about. I will show you the life of the mind on prescription drugs by Johannes. There are no contents that can help you navigate this story. You must choose your particular adventure down. Let's begin by saying what kind of organ it is. It is a grey stretch of foam and dry rubble, a lot less wet than you'd think, with a few rubber elevations, a few hills and valleys, and on the other side, the great barrenness of a comeuppance. It's mean, like a desert, but small, like a walnut. What is possible is that this organ is not accurately depictable. That is, if you were to see a picture of it, whether photographed, drawn or designed, it would not in any way, sense or form appear as it is, for there is a desperate lag between what it looked like and how it works. Function obscures form. It is an uncanny ravine, or it is a funny blob. That everything ever resides inside a dreary sponge that probably smells like piss. The kind of urine trapped in an old bone bottle. You can imagine a doctor in a white face mask recoiling at the smell as it's removed from an open-top skull. But not your skull. I can describe it though. This book is a portrayal, an account, perhaps more accurate because it might be considered atypical. But that depends on your fancy, whether you see clarity in a kind of obscurity when the object in question isn't simple. Let me say, echoing the eerie, it's an undistinguished sort of object. A box towards intelligence, but still holding a journey towards it. A road, not a receptacle or safe. It is not secure nor sturdy really. If it can leak out of a hole, then how formidable can it be? People used to trepan it easily enough, and it does swell from time to time. And yet we use the metaphor of swelling more for the heart. Perhaps here is a secret worth gleaning. If it is an unreliable article in objective reality, should we be surprised it is inevitably unreliable in practice? Nonetheless, it is the eternal object, where billions have died and been born. Were it more modern or economic, it would be worth its weight in gold, for it maintains the concept of all things, including commerce and relative value, and this trade in worth seems, deep down, nowadays, to stop us from killing each other over a word or intransigent concept, or instinct. It is electricity too, they say. You can't see that, but it is humming now as you listen. It sends its own roots down, and that's impressive. They say grey, but I bet it's bluish or pink. It is a thing without a proper name because of a problem. It is the most underappreciated of all things ever. This is as everlasting as its nature. Perhaps this is also funny. It has old skin, even from birth, absorbing size, dilated by day, chilled by night, washed by head blood, protected by the skull after the fontanelle closes. It's eaten by age, but also by blows, changed by damage, but also by what is taken in through the stupid mouth. Yet the closed mouth never gets fed. Century after century trodden into the floor, it throbs like nothing has happened. The fossil remains imprisoned, and within that prison exists everything ever. The grand total, the kit and caboodle, the whole shebang. You can't even picture it. Until it don't work as it once did, then you'll know. The book is full of illustrations, and this is the first, a giant white circle. Blank and blank are just a black hole. I feel like there's never enough. I held so strong a feeling inside me no longer an overheard. If you keep taking these pills not to die, you'll die. With terms defined, the story begins in a doctor's office in the NHS. We descend into the scene you're expecting. The patient, shall we say you? May I use you from here on in? Please don't take it personally. I'm not covering an I. Believe me, you. It's just clarity belongs to the objective, and I'm not present in this story. The patient enters the doctor's office after a 9-minute delay. They, you, have long-lasting and lingering pain in the head. You have a recent bout of unhappiness, and you would agree, yes, it's been significant. You use these words for it, not the more technical phrases that of course you know very well, by heart, offhand. You do this deliberately so that the doctor won't think you are too knowing or gaming, or that you spend so much time looking for medical advice online that you are really making them obsolete. You see an advert in the waiting room for a digital appointment service. I wish everyone else was dead if I'm dead, you think, waiting. You look around. Everyone has it worse than you. The doctor is filling in for the regular doctor, a substitute doctor. They are surprisingly curt with you, even rude. But you don't take it personally. You know how busy they are, and doctors are under a lot of pressure, and they are people too, you think, that don't believe this really. It's a passing thought. Your normal doctor is parental as well as being expedient, and you do miss them. You have to admit you were expecting that. Comfort. A comforting, understanding facial expression. Then you can take being conveyed out and on. They say at one point, well, at the end of the day, we have to keep you going. You then become the doctor's complete lack of surprise. You become the heavy pause between the words they and we. Then you have a considerable and reasonable sensation of foreboding. Who is this doctor? Not a friend to you. And yet, right before you, they are trying to help. You are safer online, you suspect. You will never see this person again, you decide. It's comforting to have been given a prescription, though. There is a little bit of English suspicion, but why would the substitute doctor provide you without helping? You must learn to trust people. New words on a piece of green and white paper. It's all over in 8 minutes, you think, checking your phone. Do you, A, leave the doctor's office and never pick up the prescription, shut this book and throw it in the bin? Or B, shamble to the pharmacy and turn the page? The patients are the only ones that truly maintain the friendship of the pill and are every day giving a proper funeral for the microbe. Side effects of nothing, otherwise known as the worm in its core. Hello, love. There are different images of women and men and their voices we can draw. Whether the voice of death, its fear, the angel sat upon our shoulders a whole lifetime, only heard when, at the end, it extends its wing. Or a belief in immortality. Or a daily release of madness, tics, squabbles, feuds, self-orientated and recently self-diagnosed diseases. The voices are coming. The world population doubling, folding in on itself, doubling again, necessary, procreating, ignoring and distancing themselves from death and dying, doubling again, filling up the earth with voices at first crying, getting their way, magicians who make things happen to their will, with only a voice without language. Then language, then denial, then the magic stops. Then heroic, the child makes more voices, space being endless, doubling voices, stacking, being endless, feuding, crying, procreating, stacking, crying. Without hearing of the outer world doubling, what is hearing of the inner voice? All right, that'll do. Before I go, I must finish by introducing you to my friend. This is Marianne, the manta ray. And because Marianne wouldn't accept it earlier, in front of an audience, I'm giving Marianne to Marianne. Thanks for your time. Have a lovely day. Thanks. Depress people and then give a manta ray and everything is fine.
Poetry.